Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. So today we're at Tankfest at the Tank Museum in Bovington, and we're going to be going indoors and showing you some of the exhibits. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go through the museum and you're going to get to see it basically as a point of view for those of you that have never got to be here. So the museum's broken up into loads of different rather large rooms, as you can see in this first one. So this is the tank story hall, they call it, and basically it goes through everything from the first tank, literally, which is over here on a turntable, through to modern things. So over there on that turntable you've got Little Willie, which is supposedly the first tank ever. So we'll go have a look at that. So Little Willie's supposedly the first tank ever, and then it moves on quickly to the other stuff. So you got some World War I bits. It's rather nice Renault FT. And then you got a British Whippet and a Mark II, which you can actually see inside. Then we've got a couple of old armoured cars. I'll try and show you a little board of information for most of the vehicles as we go through, so you can pause that and have a look if you're interested. Now, obviously this is Tankfest, so it's mega busy. There's people everywhere, so hopefully the noise won't be too much. So what I might do is break this into different rooms, so we'll do this room and then as a separate video we'll do the next room and so on and so forth. Otherwise it's going to be like an hour long and no one's going to want to stay for that. I think this is this a Lloyd carrier? Yeah. So that's like the precursor to the Bren gun carrier, or what everyone knows as a Bren gun carrier. We've got a Vickers. And this is a medium. Quite big, lumpy old thing. Funky tanks. You can see how old they are. You can just tell by the designs that they were in the very early years of tank production. And around this wall here is something slightly larger that I think you'll recognise. Oh no, I got that wall wrong. We're a bit early for that. But we've got a nice Panzer II instead. Next to a Chart B2. Big old French Juggernaut of a tank. Or B1 I should say, I'm being useless. Hopefully that is actually big enough on screen for you to pause, and if you want to look at the information sheets you can actually see it. It's that Panzer II. And a Vickers Mark VI. I like Vickers Mark 6, they're one of my favourite little tanks from that sort of era. In one of the early British cruisers. Like how the B2 just dwarfs everything around it. And then around here we have a T34 76, which you can actually go up on top of. Note that the swastika has nothing to do with Germany. I think that might actually be described on its sheet. Yeah, something to do with it being in Finnish hands. And here we have the Panther. Rather massive. So like I say, actually getting to see them without people around is going to be virtually impossible. So that's the Panther and the T34, and then round here we have us a Tiger 131, and there she is. So currently, as most of you will know, the only running Tiger 1 in the world, but there are 3 more being restored. They used to run her at Tankfest, but they don't anymore. They obviously realised they could make some more coin by the Tiger having its own day, so they have the Tiger Day instead. Got myself a nice old AT gun. Is that a pack? That's the 75. I'm just assuming that you guys can actually hear me clear. My little lav mic is right on the bottom. Hopefully you can't hear me puffing and panting. There we are. Big old pack guns. This one looks pretty intact. I like how they've protected all the sight and equipment so no one can screw about with it or run off with it. Then we got a Leopard 1. And what I believe is a 48 pattern. I could be wrong, as I usually am. Saladin, the poor collector's tank. If you can't quite afford a tank but you want one, you can get a Saladin. And then a Feret in the UN peacekeeping colours, or lack of colours I should say. Next to this T72. They've actually got a running T72 here, so hopefully in some video that's come out either before or after this, you'll have seen some footage of the running T72M that's here. And up on its podium we have a Chieftain. Probably up on its podium because their engine is so shit that most of the time it won't run. Waiting for angry chieftain fan comments down below. But in typical British fashion, we were the only ones that listened to the rules and gave it a stupid multi-fuel engine that didn't work very well. Whilst all the other nations said, actually that's a stupid bloody idea, we aren't going to do that. That's my very early understanding of it anyway. Got T62. They got quite a good collection of wartime post-war Russian stuff here. Unfortunately, most of the wartime Russian stuff is in the conservation hall now, rather than being out on display, which I think is a tragedy. And you got yourself a nice Challenger. Right, let's go back around here. There's a few more in this room. Hopefully this footage is coming out relatively nice and smooth for you. Right, so over here, I believe we have a Comet. No, it's a Centurion. And then the last three vehicles in here are pretty cool, because you've got a Firefly over here, the British answer to heavy tanks with its absurd turret that the Americans, from what I understand, basically said was a joke and unfit for purpose in any way, shape or form when they sent one to Aberdeen Proving Grounds. However, I'm not an expert, so I could be wrong. I do, however, know that inside the turret is completely obnoxious, but it did the job, didn't have any other options. Oh no. Alright, I'll get back in focus. Stag Hound, I believe. Oh, so no, it's a Daimler. I do like these armoured cars. The Daimlers and the Stag Hounds are particularly nice. I just thought I'd do the video like this, like just a little walk around, here's this, here's that sort of jobby. Here's the Cromwell's information sheet for you. I mean, the Firefly is awesome though. I mean, Sherman, I love Shermans. They've got a undeserved reputation with all the myths and stuff that throw around. They are very cool. The Firefly is particularly intimidating with its 17-pounder. I am a big fan of Sherman. What I'm also a fan of is this here, Churchill Crocodile. Hopefully that's in focus. So this is the Churchill with the big flamethrower in the front instead of a machine gun. And here they actually have the fuel trailer and everything for it. So this is the trailer on the back of it. That would have been providing the flamethrower in the hull with the fuel, and an extremely nasty target if it was to be penetrated by anything. You can see this massive gret cupula for the trailer, big old armoured one, and this could be disengaged in combat. So if they needed to get away and the trailer was a pain in the arse, because like you can't reverse with this piece of shit on the back here. Trailers are a pain at the best of times, but you put a trailer on the back of a tank and then you put a trailer on the back of a tank, which is armoured and heavy, like this one, full of flammable, nasty fuel, basically napalm, then if you start getting shot at, I thought you would want to be disengaging that as fast as you possibly could and getting the hell out. I have heard stories of Churchills that kind of got stuck trying to manoeuvre out of positions because the trailer was on. I don't know if you can disengage it from inside the tank or if someone has to get out, but I do know of stories of instances of people just getting covered in fuel and burnt alive, basically. Because when the Churchill was in combat and getting fired at, it'd need to get out quickly, but it couldn't because of the trailer and it got stuck. The trailer got hit, penetrated, and the hatches of the tank were open because the crew was trying to bail out, and they basically just got filled full of what is essentially napalm. A horrible fate for their poor crew. But that is basically it for this room. Got a couple of British tanker kit here. So what do you think, guys? Hopefully you've enjoyed this quick video of the tank story haul. Please give me some feedback of what you thought of this little vlog and what your favourite vehicles are and how that's all been laid out. For those of you that have never been to the museum before, I just thought this would be nice to have a bit more footage online in semi-decent quality so people could see what they can't get to if you live in other countries or you just can't make it here. If you can make it here but you haven't been, you should come to the Tank Museum. It's a brilliant place. Tiger Day and tankfest are especially recommended, because then you get to have a look around all this stuff and have a look at all the stuff driving around in the arena, displays and whatnot. So with a little last bit of footage of this Churchill crocodile, I'll show you the actual flamethrower before we go. Yes, that's the big armoured nozzle of the flamethrower that replaced the Beezer machine gun. Still carries its normal gun as well, so it was a functional tank just with an additional flamethrower with a massive trailer on the back. Anyway, I'll stop rambling about the crocodile and I will see you in the next video where we will be doing the next room.